The Galactic Council chamber was filled with voices, sharp and restless. Thousands of alien representatives from across the galaxy had gathered, their colors, shapes, and languages mixing into one loud storm. Normally the chamber was calm, used for trade talks or border disputes. But today every seat was filled, every delegate was tense. The reason for this sudden panic was one word spoken again and again. Humans. The word carried weight now. Humanity had been added to the Galactic Union only 70 years ago. They were newcomers, a young species still climbing toward the stars. Their world, Earth, was officially classified as a death world, a planet, with dangerous animals, unstable weather, and violent geology. Such planets usually produced species with aggressive survival traits. The Council's solution had been simple: accept humanity into the Union, but place them under restrictions. Humans could trade, colonize, and travel, but they were forbidden from building large-scale military ships for at least 3 centuries. The galaxy did not want another aggressive death world race armed with fleets. For decades, things had been calm. Humans built freighters, colony transports, and exploration craft. They bought weapons from allies but were never allowed to design heavy warships of their own. Everyone thought they would stay obedient. Until now. Councillor Vayreen of the Trask species slammed his scaled fist on the speaking platform. His voice echoed through the chamber. Our observers report strange activity around Jupiter. The humans are building a vessel of massive size. It is no freighter, it is no colony ship. It is a weapon. Murmurs spread through the hall. The councillors looked at each other with disbelief. Some clicked their mandibles nervously. Others tapped claws against the tables. Finally, one of the older species spoke. It was High Speaker Zeltor of the Zilari, whose people had ruled the stars for millennia. His voice was calm but heavy. Are we certain of these reports? Humans lack the knowledge to build a true warship of that scale. But Vayreen raised a claw. A hollow image appeared above the chamber, showing grainy footage from a hidden probe orbiting Jupiter. It showed an enormous structure, metal frames stretching outward, docking arms swarming with smaller craft. Workers and drones crawled over. The skeleton of a ship larger than any freighter humans had ever built. The chamber exploded in noise. Some shouted for sanctions. Others demanded immediate military action. A few laughed nervously, saying the humans must have overreached and would fail. But no one could deny the truth. The humans were building something forbidden. Meanwhile, in the Sol system, Earth was calm. The people of Earth did not know the full attention of the galaxy was upon them. Most civilians thought the Jupiter project was just another colony effort, but among human leaders, the truth was guarded closely. Admiral Helena Torres stood in the orbital shipyard, looking out at the giant structure beyond the viewing glass. Her uniform was dark navy blue, her expression stern. Around her, engineers shouted updates, welders sparked against metal, and drones hummed as they carried parts. The ship under construction was unlike anything humanity had built before. It was not sleek or elegant. Alien ships were works of art, curved designs, glowing lines of energy, beautiful and terrifying. This ship was different. It looked like a fortress, straight lines, thick plating, countless weapon mounts. It was being built for one purpose: survival. Helena Torres whispered to herself, "Never again." She remembered the Zal Reaver attacks. 20 years ago, the Reavers had raided outer colonies, enslaving thousands. The Galactic Union had promised help but sent no fleet. They had declared humanity too unimportant to risk war. The Reavers had only left when humans sacrificed entire colonies to stop them. Torres had sworn that humanity would never beg for defense again. And so, in secret, Earth began its greatest project. They called it Project Beowulf. Back in the council chamber, more arguments raged. Councillor Drex of the Morali clicked his mandibles in annoyance. This is absurd. Even if humans attempt to build such a vessel, their technology is crude, their reactors unstable, their armor heavy. It will collapse under its own weight before leaving dock. Councillor Shari of the Valen, a species who had once warred with humanity during first contact, shook her head. You underestimate them. They adapt faster than any species I have seen. Give them metal and they build weapons. Give them peace and they prepare for war. If they finish this ship, no fleet will easily stop them." A hush fell over the chamber as the high speaker rose again. "We must act carefully. If humans are truly breaking the Treaty of Restrictions, they endanger the balance of the galaxy. But if we move too harshly, we may create the very enemy we fear." The chamber erupted once more, but beneath the chaos, one truth echoed. Humans were not supposed to build ships like that. In the shipyard above Jupiter, workers paused as the hull took shape. From the viewing platform, Admiral Torres spoke to her chief engineer, Marcus Hale. "How long until the first test reactor goes online?" she asked. Hale, his face smeared with grease, smiled tiredly. 3 weeks. Faster if the council doesn't sniff around. But Admiral, you know they'll notice soon. We can't hide this forever." Torres nodded grimly. "I know, but by the time they come, Beowulf must be ready. We will not bow to them again." Hale looked out at the growing shadow of the ship. "Do you think they'll let us keep it?" Torres's voice was cold steel. "No, they'll try to take it. But that's why we're building it." News of the construction spread faster than the council wanted. Traders whispered about shortages of rare metals. Miners claimed entire shipments of fusion isotopes vanished into classified projects. Freighter pilots swore they saw strange military escorts near Jupiter. Every rumor pointed to one thing: humanity was preparing for war. In the dark halls of the council, fear grew. Some species remembered humanity's history. Wars fought endlessly, weapons created with terrifying creativity, victories earned even when outnumbered. Humanity was a death world race, and no death world race had ever built ships of that scale without shaking the stars. The high speaker finally declared, "If this project is true, then the humans must be stopped before they complete it. We will send envoys to demand answers. And if they refuse," the chamber grew silent, everyone understanding the unspoken words, "then we will bring fleets to Sol." Above Earth, Admiral Torres received the council's message. A delegation would arrive soon to inspect the shipyards. She stood before her officers, her expression calm but firm. "They will try to intimidate us. They will demand answers. We will give them none. Beowulf is our future. We are building it for one reason only: to survive." Her officers saluted. Each one remembered the colonies lost, the families taken, the silence of the Union fleets during the Reaver raids. They would not forget. They would not forgive. And so the humans continued to build in secret, every weld, every bolt, every weapon, Mount carrying the weight of their determination. In the faraway council chamber, an old alien whispered to another. His voice trembled with fear. "If the humans finish this, and the galaxy will never be the same." The other alien replied, "No, it will be worse. For the first time in 10,000 years, we may face a species that builds not for conquest, not for beauty, but only for survival. And that kind of will cannot be broken." The council fell into silence as they looked again at the grainy, hollow footage of the shipyard around Jupiter. The skeletal frame of the Beowulf stretched across, the screen like the bones of a giant awakening. The humans had started something forbidden, and the galaxy had no idea how to stop it. The markets of the galaxy were restless. Traders complained of shortages, miners demanded higher pay, and transport guilds whispered about missing shipments. Everywhere in the great trade hubs, the same strange story spread. The humans were buying everything. On the station of Carthos Prime, the largest marketplace in the inner spiral, merchants gathered in a smoky hall. One was a lizard-like Frau, his scales shining under the lights. Another was a soft-skinned Relone, her tendrils twitching nervously. Beside them sat a small group of insectoid Morali, clicking their mandibles in irritation. "They bought 2 entire shipments of tritanium alloy," the Frau complained. "Do you know how rare that is? That metal is used for battleplate, not for freighters." The Rylone leaned forward. "Not just tritanium. My cousin runs isotope refineries near Varn. Humans purchased fusion cores enough to power a dozen warships. And yet they claim it is for research. The Morelli leader hissed, his antennae stiff. Research, lies, excuses. We all know what they are doing. They are building something they should not. The room grew quiet. Traders looked around nervously, afraid of spies. No one wanted to speak the truth too loudly. Still, everyone knew. Humanity was breaking the Treaty of Restrictions. On Earth, the truth was hidden behind layers of secrecy. The governments called the Jupiter shipyard a joint colony project. News broadcasts showed smiling workers, scientists in lab coats, and children waving flags from the colony platforms. Civilians were told it was a project for peaceful expansion. But inside the command deck of the orbital station, Admiral Helena Torres knew the galaxy was beginning to notice. She read report after report of shortages, of traders asking too many questions, of spies lurking near transport lanes. The cover story would not last forever. She gathered her officers in the war room, a chamber filled with holographic displays of the Beowulf under construction. "They are whispering," she said. "The Council will send inspectors soon. We cannot stop the whispers, but we can prepare." Commander Marcus Hale, the chief engineer, looked exhausted. His eyes were red from long nights at the shipyard. "Admiral, we are already moving faster than safety standards allow. If we push harder, we risk failures. The Beowulf must hold when it launches, or all this will be for nothing." Torres placed a hand on the holographic display of the ship. The Beowulf's shape looked more complete now. The frame was solid, engines in place, sections of armor already shining under Jupiter's light. "It must be finished," she said firmly. "We will not bow to the Council. If they want to stop us, they'll have to try." The whispers reached the Galactic Council in less than a week. Envoys reported rumors of asteroid mining companies disappearing under Earth contracts. Others spoke of strange escort ships guarding convoys bound for Jupiter, ships equipped with weapons too powerful for simple transports. Councillor Veyron of the Trask stood again before the assembly. His scaled skin glistened as he hissed, You see, they prepare for war. They gather materials faster than any species in living memory. If they succeed, the balance of the galaxy will be broken." Councillor Drex of the Mirali tapped his claws impatiently. "Fear-mongering again, Veyron. You forget. Humans are reckless. Perhaps they build a giant toy, but their science is flawed. Their reactors are primitive, their ships clumsy. Let them waste resources." But Shari of the Valen narrowed her eyes. "I fought humans before. They are not reckless. They are stubborn. They bleed. They fall. But they rise again. Give them one chance and they will turn a weakness into a weapon." The council chamber fell into argument once more. Some demanded sanctions, others called for patience. A few suggested direct strikes against Earth. But the High Speaker silenced them all with a single command. "Enough. We will not decide based on rumor. We will send envoys to Earth. If the humans lie, we shall see. If they tell the truth, then we must prepare for what comes next." At the Jupiter shipyard, Marcus Hale wiped sweat from his forehead as he inspected the Beowulf's forward railgun battery. The weapon was monstrous, stretching across nearly a quarter of the ship's length. It was designed not for beauty, but for overwhelming destruction. It could fire hypervelocity slugs large enough to shatter a battleship's shields. Nearby, young cadets watched in awe as engineers ran a dry test. The weapon did not fire, but the power systems hummed, vibrating, the metal floor beneath their boots. One cadet whispered, "Do you think this will actually work?" Another replied, his voice filled with nervous pride, "It has to. This ship is all we've got." Marcus overheard them. He smiled grimly. The cadets were right. The Beowulf was not just a warship, it was a statement. Humanity would never, again, wait for others to defend them. They would defend themselves. The whispers grew louder when footage leaked. Somewhere, somehow, an alien trader had bribed a worker. The recording spread like fire across the trade networks. A shaky video of a massive cannon test firing into an asteroid. The round smashed through the rock, breaking it into glowing fragments. The galaxy watched in silence. The video was grainy, but the power was undeniable. On Carthos Prime, the same traders who had whispered before now panicked. That was no freighter weapon, one shouted. That was a battleship's gun. Not even battleships, another muttered. I've never seen firepower like that, the Morelli hissed angrily. If they have such weapons now, imagine what the ship will carry when finished. We must act. In the council chamber, the footage was played on the Grand Hollow. Delegates leaned forward, antennae twitching, claws tapping, tendrils curling. The silence after the impact was thick with fear. Finally, the high speaker spoke. His voice was low and grave. It is no longer rumor, it is fact. The humans build weapons in violation of the treaty. The chamber erupted. Some shouted for war, others demanded embargoes. A few species, secretly tired of council dominance, whispered that perhaps the humans had the right to defend themselves. But above all, panic spread. The galaxy had seen the power of a human-made weapon. On Earth, Admiral Torres received a private message from her intelligence officer. She read it carefully, her jaw tightening. The council had seen the footage. The secret was gone, Torres gathered. Her senior staff again. The galaxy knows they will come soon. They will demand we dismantle Beowulf. But we cannot. If we do, humanity remains weak. If we refuse, they may bring fleets. One officer asked nervously, Admiral, can one ship stand against the fleets of the council? Torres looked at the hologram of Beowulf. It was still incomplete, but already it radiated power. One ship cannot win a war, she said softly, but one ship can show the galaxy that humanity will never kneel again. Far away, in private rooms across the galaxy, leaders whispered with growing fear. Some remembered Earth's history, the endless wars, the weapons of mass destruction, the strange ability of humans to adapt in chaos. Others wondered if humanity had learned too much from its death world origins. No one wanted to face a fleet of such ships. But it was already too late. Humanity had crossed the line. The galaxy realized something dangerous. Humans were not trying to build like the others. They were building something entirely new. The day the HSS Beowulf was revealed to the galaxy, silence spread across every sector like a cold wind. It was no longer a rumor, no longer a whispered threat in shadowed corridors. The humans had finished the ship, and it was unlike anything the Galactic Council had ever imagined. From orbit around Jupiter, the Beowulf floated like a giant mechanical fortress. Its hull was massive, covered with layers of armor that dwarfed the thick plating of any alien battleship. Every weapon turret pointed in multiple directions, rails and cannons bristling like a spiked crown. Its engines were enormous, yet compact, designed to launch the ship at impossible speeds without losing stability. And above it all, its hull reflected the sunlight in a pale blue sheen, a color chosen not for beauty, but for practicality, energy-efficient coatings, and radiation deflection. Admiral Helena Torres stood on the bridge of the shipyard station, looking out at the Beowulf. For years she had dreamed of this moment. For years she had imagined what the galaxy would think when they finally saw it. Now, as the ship glimmered against Jupiter's storms, she felt a strange mix of pride and caution. This is it, she whispered to herself. One ship, one warning. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, counselors watched via hollows. In the chamber, delegates sat frozen. Some could barely breathe. Others leaned forward, trying to see better. The footage was transmitted live, showing the Beowulf fully operational, its energy fields humming and its weapon systems cycling through tests. Counselor Vayreen of the Trask hissed angrily, clawing at his chair. This cannot be. They have violated the treaty. This is monstrous. High Speaker Zeltor raised a hand, signaling silence. His voice, normally calm, now carried a tremor. Observe carefully. They are not just building a warship. They are building a fortress, a planet killer, a weapon that defies the rules we set centuries ago. And yet, they do not move to attack. They do not declare war. They merely exist. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some species whispered of the sheer audacity of humans. Others feared it. Shari of the Velan leaned forward, antennae twitching. They did this not for conquest. They did this for survival. And that makes them unpredictable, dangerous. Back at the Jupiter shipyard, Admiral Torres addressed her officers and engineers. The atmosphere was tense. This was not a celebration. It was preparation. "We are finished, but we are not done," Torres said firmly. "The galaxy knows what we are capable of. Soon, envoys will arrive. They will demand compliance. They will threaten war. And we will not kneel. Humanity has waited too long for defense. This ship exists because we cannot afford weakness. Remember that. Every weapon, every crew member, every system, this ship must be ready to protect us all." Chief Engineer Marcus Hale stepped forward, his voice steady but serious. "Admiral, the Beowulf is ready for initial trials. Weapon systems, shields, propulsion, all functional. But the galaxy may underestimate us. They may try to act. Are we prepared for confrontation?" Torres's eyes narrowed. "Prepared or not, we will survive. And if they attack, we will show them why no one should ever take a human ship lightly." The first alien delegation arrived days later. 3 ships appeared in orbit above Jupiter. They were sleek, deadly-looking craft, each representing the Council's power. Envoys boarded the human station expecting a simple inspection and compliance with the treaty. They were wrong. Torres greeted them personally, standing tall on the observation deck. She allowed them to see the Beowulf in all its glory, its immense size and weaponry impossible to ignore. The alien envoys gaped, taking in the armored hull, the countless weapon turrets, the enormous engine thrusters. One of the envoys, a Quarian diplomat with translucent skin, stammered, This cannot be. You have no right. No species should possess this kind of weapon." Torres smiled faintly, a calm but dangerous smile. "You are correct. No species should. But we are not like other species. We will not beg for safety. And we will not dismantle our defenses because you demand it." The Quarian faltered, staring at the Beowulf. The ship was terrifying. It was enormous, yes, but it was not the size alone. Every panel, every turret, every engine was built with precision. It radiated discipline, intelligence, and purpose. Shari, of the Velan present among the envoys, whispered to herself, antennae trembling. "They are not like us. They are not like any species we have encountered. They adapt. They survive. They will destroy anyone who threatens them." The envoys tried to protest. They showed holographic records of the treaty. They spoke of sanctions, of galaxy-wide embargoes, of fleets ready to enforce the rules. But Torres remained calm. "Do you understand why we built this ship?" she asked. "Do you know why humans do not fear the galaxy?" The envoys hesitated. The silence was thick. Torres continued. "Because we cannot. Our colonies have been attacked, our people slaughtered, and your fleets did nothing. You watched while we suffered. We built Beowulf so that no one will ever harm us again without paying the price. We did not build this to attack you. We built it to survive, and now that you see it, you understand." For a moment, the delegation was speechless. They realized that the humans had thought of every contingency. They had anticipated threats from the Council itself and had built a weapon capable of resisting them all. Back in the Council chamber, news of the Beowulf's revelation caused a wave of panic. Hollow streamed live images of the ship. Alien delegates whispered and muttered, unable to hide their fear. Counselor Drex hissed, "We underestimated them. I thought their reactors would fail. I thought their armor would crumble. But it did not. They are unstoppable." High Speaker Zeltor stood again, his voice grim. "The humans are not asking for war. They are demanding respect, and the galaxy will either accept it or face the consequences." Vayreen of the Trask, once arrogant and vocal, now slumped in his chair. His scaled face paled. "They are humans. And yet, this is not what any human should be able to build. They have broken every expectation. They have exceeded every limit." A silence followed, heavy and tense. No one could argue against it. Humanity had revealed themselves fully. The Beowulf was a fortress, a warning, and a promise. On Earth, Admiral Torres watched the Council's reaction through encrypted comm links. She did not celebrate. Humanity had won the first battle of perception, but the war of diplomacy had only begun. She turned to Marcus Hale. They will fear us now. They will whisper. They will plot, and they will send fleets. But we are ready. One ship is not enough to conquer the galaxy, but it is enough to make them think twice. Hale nodded, looking out at the Beowulf. They won't expect what comes next. Humanity never plays by the rules they write for us. We survive differently. Torres's eyes gleamed with determination. And that is why they will never defeat us. As the alien envoys departed, shaken and silent, whispers began to spread across every star system. Traders, pilots, and diplomats carried the same message. The humans have built a ship that no species should ever possess. They are not asking for permission. They are not begging for mercy. They are ready. And the galaxy is not prepared for them. Some species argued about striking first, while others suggested immediate diplomacy. But everyone felt the same chill. Humans were no longer a young, naive species. They were dangerous, clever, and determined. And the Beowulf was only the beginning. In the quiet of space above Jupiter, the Beowulf waited. Its weapons systems hummed, its engines glimmered, its shields glowed faintly. And within it, the crew of humans prepared for whatever the galaxy might throw at them next. The revelation was complete. The galaxy had seen humanity's power, and now no one could ignore it. The first fleets of the Galactic Council arrived in orbit around Jupiter with confidence. Sleek, deadly warships glimmered against the gas giant's storms, their weapons ready, their engines humming. Every species believed they held the advantage. Humans were young, untested. Their numbers were small. Their ships were unproven. Councillor Vayreen of the Trask watched the holographic feed, his claws tapping nervously. "Only one ship," he said. "One ship against our fleet. They cannot hope to survive." But Shari of the Valen remained silent, her antennae twitching as she observed the Beowulf from the feed. She had seen humans in combat before. Small, units, colonies defending against pirates, groups fighting together against impossible odds. The thought lingered. They do not fight like us. They adapt. They survive. Above Jupiter, the human orbital station bristled with activity. Admiral Helena. Torres stood on the bridge, watching the approaching fleet. Every sensor was active, every crew member in position. The Beowulf gleamed behind her, its immense hull radiating power. "Prepare weapon systems," Torres ordered. "Shields online, drones in formation, engines ready for evasive maneuvers. Remember, they will try to intimidate us. They do not. No humans. We will show them." Commander Marcus Hale adjusted the tactical displays. "Admiral, sensors indicate energy readings far beyond normal inspection ranges. They are scanning aggressively. This is standard intimidation. But some of their ships are deploying strike drones. They may strike first." Torres's voice was calm but deadly. "Let them strike. One shot from Beowulf will remind them why no one should ever underestimate humanity." The Council fleet made the first move. Bright streaks of energy launched from alien warships toward the Beowulf, testing its shields. The humans held their positions, monitoring, calculating, and reacting. Each energy volley struck the hull, and each time the shields absorbed the blow. The alien envoys had expected to provoke fear. Instead, they saw discipline, precision, and power. The first shots were only a warning, but it shattered expectations. A Morali admiral hissed in disbelief. They are not retreating. They are standing still under fire." Shari leaned closer, her eyes wide. "Observe carefully. They are not reacting with panic. They are reacting with strategy. Humans always think 5 steps ahead." "Admiral." Torres gave the order. "Engage." The Beowulf responded with the efficiency of a single mind controlling thousands of systems. Railguns fired, slamming projectiles into the vacuum with devastating speed. Missiles launched from hidden bays, weaving through space and striking alien drones. Swarms of defensive drones darted outward, colliding with enemy fire, absorbing energy blasts and disrupting targeting systems. One by one, alien drones were neutralized. The fleet watched in disbelief as weapons intended to intimidate humans were turned into chaos by human tactics. The first battle unfolded in eerie silence. The alien fleet outnumbered the Beowulf by nearly 30-1. They were sleek, advanced, designed for combat. Yet the humans had something no alien species had ever seen: practical, relentless innovation under fire. The Beowulf's railguns fired again. A single shot pierced the hull of an alien destroyer, cutting it in two. A missile swarm targeted the next ship, disabling engines with surgical precision. The humans did not panic, did not waste energy. They adapted. Each attack by the aliens was met with a countermeasure designed in real time. Marcus Hale whispered to Torres, awed. They underestimated us. Every move they make, we've prepared for it. Torres nodded, her face calm but determined. They did not see the human mind. They only counted numbers. Numbers mean nothing if one mind outthinks 10. Panic spread across the Council fleet. Some ships tried to retreat. Others attempted coordinated strikes, but the humans anticipated them. They used gravity wells from nearby asteroids to redirect enemy projectiles. They overloaded alien energy beams to destroy ships without firing a single shot, and they exploited gaps in formation with tiny drones that could bypass massive shields. Shari, of the Valen, whispered in awe. They are unstoppable, not because they are strong, but because they do not fear death. They calculate, adapt, and strike with precision no other species possesses. Vereen of the Trask snarled in frustration. His largest dreadnought had just been ripped apart by a simple human maneuver, a sudden acceleration using Jupiter's gravity to strike from an unexpected angle. Impossible, he shouted. One ship should not be able to do this. Inside the Beowulf, the human crew remained focused. They did not rejoice at each alien ship destroyed. They monitored shields, repaired minor damage, and deployed reinforcements. Cadets who had trained for years now acted as seasoned veterans. Each knew their role. Each understood the plan. Torres watched the alien fleet crumble, her hands steady on the console. They will learn today that humans build for survival. We do not waste resources on appearance or tradition. Every system on this ship exists to defend humanity, and that is why they cannot beat us. As the battle reached its peak, the Council fleet tried to regroup. A massive alien flagship, the size of a small moon, launched an all-out assault. Energy. Beams converged on the Beowulf from every direction. Torres tilted her head slightly. Let them fire. The Beowulf's shields flared bright, absorbing the energy like a storm crashing against stone walls. Then, with precision timing, the railguns fired. One massive shot pierced the flagship's central core. The hull split from core to edge, and the great vessel exploded in fragments that scattered into space. The Council delegates on distant hollows went silent. No species had ever seen such power wielded with such calm. Panic began to ripple through the fleet. Shari observed the fleet's reactions closely. Humans do not fight for glory, they fight for survival, and that is why they are so terrifying. If they were conquering, we could resist, but this is instinct. They will not stop, they will not falter. Varen of the Trask banged his claws in frustration. We cannot fight them. They have violated every expectation. One ship. He faltered, unable to finish. The humans did not pursue the retreating fleet. They did not celebrate. The Beowulf rotated slowly in orbit, weapon systems still ready, shields strong. They had proven their point. The galaxy had witnessed the first true display of human ingenuity and deadly precision. Marcus Hale looked at Torres. They will think twice before challenging us again. Torres nodded. They will. And if they do not, we will be ready. Always ready. The first clash ended not with conquest, but with respect born of fear. Across the galaxy, rumors spread. Instantly, One human ship destroyed 30 Council warships. They used asteroids as weapons. Humans fight differently. They do not panic. They adapt. Every species whispered the same fear. Humanity had crossed a line. They had built a ship no one should ever possess, and they had proven they could use it. In orbit above Jupiter, the Beowulf remained, silent and immense. Its crew worked tirelessly, knowing the galaxy would not stop watching. They had made a statement, and the message was clear: do not challenge humanity. Ever. The aftermath of the first clash was not quiet. Across the galaxy, every Council species scrambled to understand what had just happened. Fleets retreated, diplomats argued, traitors whispered, and spies reported back in horror. Humans had not started the war. They had defended themselves. Yet that display of power reshaped the galaxy's perception. High Speaker Zeltor convened the council again. His voice was grave as he addressed the assembly. The humans have shown us what no species has dared to create. They possess a weapon that defies our laws, our limitations, and our expectations. They have not attacked, yet they have proven their ability to destroy fleets at will. We must reconsider our approach. Councillor Varen of the Trask, still pale and trembling, hissed in frustration. Reconsider? We are not dealing with diplomats anymore. We are dealing with a species capable of wiping out entire fleets alone. If we delay, they will build 10 more Beowulfs. Shari of the Velan, observing quietly, spoke up. Perhaps they are not seeking to conquer. Perhaps they are teaching the galaxy a lesson. They are not like any other species we know, and for the first time in millennia, the Council faces a race it cannot predict. Meanwhile, in orbit around Jupiter, the Beowulf floated like a sentinel. Admiral Helena Torres stood on the bridge observing the Council fleet retreating into the void. The Beowulf's shields glimmered faintly, and its weapon systems remained active, ready for any threat. Marcus Hale turned from the tactical display. Admiral, they will report this. They will mobilize larger fleets. Do you think one ship is enough to stop them? Torres shook her head. One ship is enough to make them hesitate. One ship shows the galaxy our resolve. We do not need to destroy them all. Just remind them that humanity cannot be ignored. A young cadet, eyes wide, asked, But Admiral, what if they come back with more? Torres smiled faintly, a mixture of pride and seriousness. Then, we will meet them, and we will show them why humans survive, always, adapt, and endure. Back on Earth, the news of the Beowulf's triumph spread quickly. For the first time in centuries, humanity's place in the galaxy was recognized, not as newcomers, not as dependent allies, but as equals. Citizens celebrated cautiously. The military trained relentlessly. Scientists worked on new designs. Every human understood that they had crossed a line. At the council, the debate raged. Some species argued that humans must be sanctioned, restrained, or even attacked. Others suggested alliance, reasoning that no species could challenge humanity without immense risk. Every discussion returned to one point. Humans had redefined power in the galaxy. High Speaker Zeltor finally spoke, voice carrying weight across the chamber. We cannot ignore what humanity has shown. They are not reckless. They are calculated, persistent, and deadly when provoked. They demand respect, not by words, but by their actions. The galaxy must adjust to this reality. Varen hissed, but even he could not argue against the evidence. Humanity had built one ship, and it had destroyed fleets in hours. One ship, against the combined forces of multiple species, had proven the unthinkable. The humans, however, did not take the galaxy lightly. Admiral Torres convened her officers once more. We have sent a message, she said. The galaxy knows we are not weak, but we have also seen their fear, their hesitation. This is not a victory, it is a warning. Humanity must remain vigilant. We must continue to prepare. Beowulf is only the beginning. Marcus Hale nodded. The Council will not forget this. Some will try to challenge us again, sooner or later. Torres's eyes scanned the stars. Let them try. Humanity has learned one thing. Fear is not a weakness. Fear is a weapon when others underestimate you. Diplomats from several species arrived soon after, not with fleets, but with messages, offers of trade, peace treaties, and strategic alliances filled the human communication networks. For the first time, humanity could negotiate as equals. No longer were humans required to report every colony mission, every ship design, every military strategy. They were now participants in galactic politics, not children under supervision. Some aliens still whispered fearfully among themselves. "They are not like us," one Quarian said. "They adapt, they survive, they fight differently, and they will never stop growing stronger." Shari of the Velan observed quietly, her antennae twitching. "They are not conquerors, but they are predators in their own right, and no one species can control them." On the Beowulf, the crew trained relentlessly. Drones practiced formations, weapons cycled, engines tested under extreme conditions. Humanity had demonstrated strength, but Torres understood the galaxy would test them again. The humans did not fear the test. They welcomed it. "You have seen what one ship can do," Torres said to her officers. "Imagine what 10 will do, or 100. But we do not need numbers. We have intelligence, adaptability, and determination. That is why humanity survives, and that is why no one can challenge us lightly." The cadets nodded, understanding now that survival was not just about ships or weapons. It was about strategy, courage, and unity. Humanity had endured for millennia on a death world. They had survived diseases, wars, and disasters, and now they had survived the judgment of the galaxy itself. Meanwhile, in distant council chambers, leaders discussed the new reality. Ships were built to monitor humans, alliances considered, sanctions debated. But one truth rang clear. The humans were untouchable unless the galaxy united completely, and even then, success was uncertain. High Speaker Zeltor's voice carried a rare note of caution. "We have underestimated humanity. They do not fight as we expect. They survive as we cannot. We must adapt our policies, our fleets, and our strategies. They have not yet conquered us, but they have conquered our perception of strength." Varen of the Trask clenched his claws. "We cannot let one species dictate terms, but we also cannot ignore them." Shari of the Valen leaned back, her eyes cold. "They are not here to dictate. They are here to survive. And the galaxy will learn that surviving humans are forces no one can contain." The final message from Earth came to the Council weeks later. The humans spoke plainly, their words broadcast across thousands of systems. "We do not seek war. We do not seek conquest. We build to survive. We defend our people and our colonies. If you threaten humanity, you will face the consequences. We are not weak. We are not naive. We are human. And now, you know why no one should underestimate us." The galaxy fell silent. Traders paused, fleets hesitated, and diplomats considered carefully. Humanity had not demanded submission. They had simply shown strength, and the message was clear. Respect humanity, or face the results. Back on the Beowulf, Admiral Torres gazed out into space. The ship was complete. Its systems hummed quietly, ready for whatever came next. Crew members worked tirelessly, but there was no fear in their eyes. Humanity had survived, and the galaxy had learned a lesson. Humans did not ask for permission. Humans did not beg for approval. Humans did not surrender, and if the galaxy made the mistake of challenging them, it would regret it. Marcus Hale stepped beside Torres. "Do you think they finally understand?" Torres smiled faintly. Some will never. But it does not matter. Humanity does not wait for understanding. We act, we survive, and we endure." The stars stretched endlessly beyond the Beowulf's hull. Humanity's place in the galaxy was no longer uncertain. For the first time in centuries, humans were equal, feared, and respected. They had built not just a ship, but a statement that would echo across the galaxy for generations.